a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, your consumer advocate here in Tampa Bay, helping you win in any marketplace. We're going to give you an update on insurance, all things happening in the insurance market with Florida Best Quote Insurance. Jason Mears making his debut on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, our CPA, Dwayne Bischoff. We're going to talk about different factors affecting small business owners, other ways that you can be a smart consumer business owner here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, some are calling this the largest healthcare worker strike in history. We're going to play a clip from that and talk a little bit about that as well. Now, as you know, we're a top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay with Keller Williams Realty, and we like to feature our real estate listings live on air as a strategy to help our sellers sell faster for more money. 3864 50th Avenue South in St. Petersburg. We got a beautiful renovation job here, beautiful property, completely fully remodeled 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Got a 2-car garage, 1659 square feet in St. Petersburg, Pinellas County. Beautiful property at 3864 50th Avenue South. Completely updated, bathrooms updated with sleek fixtures and tiled shower. The kitchen features stainless steel appliances, tiled backsplash, and an island. You have a screened-in back patio overlooking the backyard, and you're a block away from the renovated Maximo Marina in the famous Tiki Dock. So great opportunity to own beautiful real estate property, gorgeous flooring as well in that home here in Tampa Bay. Another one of our listings here, 9749 Little Bluestem Drive. We got a 2-story property in the Connerton community, so it's a planned unit development. You have 2 community pools on site, 1 splash pool, 1 lap pool, miles of trails, on-site elementary school, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, 2334 square feet. At 9749 Little Bluestem Drive, Land O'Lakes, Florida. Owner suite features an ensuite with dual vanities, soaking tub, and a separate walk-in shower, large backyard, fenced-in yard as well. 2-story home there in the Connerton community at Little Bluestem Drive. You can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make
All right, quick shout out as well to Brio Tuscan Grill, our Tampa Bay restaurant partner, Brio Tuscan Grill. Say hello to Joseph. He's the manager over there, and it's a great restaurant. They've got an awesome menu. They also do catering as well for all of your events. And Brio actually means lively or joyful as well. So I didn't realize that little Italian for you there. We live in that through our food and the teams of food over there. So from scratch, Tuscan-inspired recipes, salmon fresca. Most popular item, the salmon fresca. Happy hours as well. Awesome happy hours. Get the bang for your buck on food and drinks over there as well. You got $6 martinis on Wednesdays, $6 wines as well. Private dining, upstairs banquets, and more over at Brio Tuscan Grill, our Tampa official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And if you talk nice to them, they'll hook you up with a free water with lemon every time. Jason, welcome in, man. Good to see you.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, so we've been wanting to get our schedules coordinated for a while because this is an update that we need to have on the show as a consumer advocate. There's so much going on in the insurance space.
Yeah, especially the home insurance industry. I mean, we've been in trouble for years, right? And thankfully, there's been some legislation which we can talk about that'll help. But I think the consumers are seeing it as my rates are skyrocketing. Why?
Yes,
and I think
exactly.
that's something that we can definitely look forward to chatting about today.
Yeah, bottom line it for them, right? I mean, it's when I go in to list a property, they're like, yeah, what are you looking for in a realtor? A lot of times they say, just sell the house, sell it fast. So on that same note, you're like, what do your clients want? They want an affordable policy that's going to provide them comfort and coverage.
Yeah, and I think that's the one benefit that we offer as an agency. I mean, we write with more home insurance companies than 95% of all the agencies in the state.
Wow.
I think there's 2 main things just from an agent standpoint that we can offer more options, and we have educated insurance agents. I've been an agent for almost 11 years. We have a lot of agents that have been agents for years. So knowing what's going on with the legislation, what's going on in the state, being able to speak to that, and also just have options for people, as many options as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Florida Best Quote Insurance here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking with Jason, and let's start with what the history is a little bit, because you had a lot of roofing contractors and such coming in, and they would basically create these claims, and then it costs. Is that kind of the root of the issue in your mind?
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, it's really about fraud more than anything. I mean, some of the reasons for the rate increases is related to storms, but that has not been the major issue. If you look at just the stats, over the last 4 years, the home insurance industry in Florida has lost well over $1 billion in the state each year. Wow. So if you have a small business and you're bleeding money, you're going to take some steps to not bleed money, right?
Of course.
So the result of that is we've seen companies leave the state.
Yep.
We've seen companies go into bankruptcy. We've seen them not want to write older homes or older roofs, or their rates have doubled in some cases. So we've seen them respond a lot of ways. But I'll give you just a quick stat, I think, that's eye-opening for me. But around 8% of all home insurance claims in the country happen in Florida. And to me, that's a decent-sized number, 8% of the entire country, the home insurance claims we have here. But about 80% of all the home insurance litigation in the country happens in the state of Florida.
Was that 80?
80% of all the home insurance litigation.
I've kind of heard that before, and it's just shocking, isn't it?
It is. And that's what the state legislator has been trying to address last year and early this year. And they have taken some steps to try to fix this problem as best they can. I think the biggest issue is they've done some good things. They're just not fixes that are immediate. So it's gonna take a little bit of time for us to see some relief from some of the rates we're seeing.
Yeah. How do you estimate that? Not put you on the spot. How long is this going to pull out your crystal ball, right? But how do you see this playing out over the next 6 months to a year, 6 years?
Yeah. So let me just briefly go over what the main things I think that they've done that have been that has helped. So basically, they got rid of the assignment of benefits form, where a roofer could come in to knock on your door. Hey, I can help get you a new roof, sign this form, we'll take care of everything. And in that case, they're basically taking care of the claim.
Yep.
What the client doesn't know is a month, 2 months later, they get a brand new roof that costs $15,000, $20,000. But what they don't know is the home insurance company paid out $100,000 in that claim.
Wow.
Because so much of it went to the lawyers behind the scenes. So that assignment of benefits process has been done away with. The one-way attorney fees have been eliminated. Because really, this is always boiled down to you have to de-incentivize the lawyers.
Got it.
If they're able to make just crazy amounts of money, they're going to continue to do it. Many of them. So those multiplier fees, one-way attorney fees have been addressed. The state also recently limited the claims process. So normally you could file a claim on your home, within 2 years of it happening. That's been lowered to 1 year. Supplemental claims can be up to 3 years. That was limited now to 1.5 years. So they basically have cut the claims process in half. The
time.
Right. So as far as the time frame, it really depends on who you talk to. One of our former state senators was speaking at an event that I was at with the Chamber of Commerce, and he was saying that two things have to happen. We have to get new companies in the state, which we've had as of right now. 4 companies have been approved from out of state to come into the state of Florida to start writing.
That's good news.
That's the first thing when we see companies come in, which is happening. The big one is the current companies in the state have to start making money again, and that's what's going to take some time.
Yeah.
So they're taking steps to help that process.
Right.
And it doesn't help the clients, of course, with all the restrictions they're doing. But those two things have to happen, depending on who you talk to.
Yep.
He says 2025 to 26. I've been hearing more from the home insurance companies 2024 to 25. But we're seeing things trickle down, positive things little at a time. But as far as just seeing a big turnaround,
like normalization, right?
Normalization, stabilization, I think we're at least a couple of years away.
There we go. All right, we're talking with Jason Mears here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He is our insurance expert contributor. If you have questions, reach out. We'd love to put you in touch. 727-263-3707. I know I hear lots of questions in my real estate journey and my real estate life every day. Our team does. So reach out. You can call or text 727-263-3707 or consumerqb.com. You can submit an email form there at consumerqb.com. The emails come directly to me, and I make sure we get back to you before my head hits the pillow. We're talking insurance here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and kind of a recap, 8% of all claims in the state of Florida, 80% of all litigation. And that's primarily
related
for
to
property casualty, right?
Home insurance.
Wow, home insurance.
Yeah.
And then something else, would you describe the one-way attorney's fees? Like, what does that actually mean?
That's a good question, because I've heard it called one-way attorney fees or multiplier fees. It's basically and I'm not a lawyer, but the way I've understood it is they can charge over and above their normal fees to the home insurance companies.
Okay.
And I don't understand why they've been allowed to do that, but that's what they've been allowed to do. And that process, to be able to charge more than their normal fees, has been done away with. That's the best explanation I've been given for it.
I've also heard it as one of the things, kind of like a contingency, right? So they would take on these cases with a contingency, and then if the insurance company loses after they sue, then they would be responsible. They, being the insurance company, would be responsible to pay their fees. Now I've heard that the homeowner the onus is on the homeowner to front the money to pay for the attorney. Is that what you're seeing too?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
As far as the home insurance part, yes. But as far as what the clients are responsible for, that has not been something that has been a big uproar around the state. But I think the biggest thing has just been, and I hope I can speak plainly about this, what's really a little concerning, is you have lawyers trying to limit lawyers. And I mean, we're just wondering if this law is going to stay in place and how it's going to be implemented.
Right. Because
the legislature is made up of lawyers mainly, and we're trying to get limits on this. So talking to other insurance home insurance companies, that's the one piece of legislation that they've been a little bit concerned about. How is that going to be updated, changed?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Okay, let's explore that also. And I want to talk about flood insurance. And a lot of homeowners are getting cancellation letters. They're getting notice to shop and cancellation. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that. More with Jason Mears coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Florida Best Quote Insurance on the Consumer Quarterback Show here. Hey, follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at BrandonRhymes1. at CQB Show. And, of course, our YouTube channel has a plethora of information available, over 2,000 videos there. Brandon Rhymes Realty on YouTube. We'll be right back. More with Jason Mears coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Shout out to my friends at Replenish IV Solutions. If you want to boost your immune system going into this so-called end-of-the-year flu season, reach out to our friends at Replenish IV Solutions. Let them know at the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. They'll hook you up with a vitamin infusion drip. I love going in once a month, getting that injection of all the good stuff, vitamin C's, B's, all the good stuff going into your body. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, we're having a conversation with Jason Mears coming up here in just a minute. We're going to discuss flood insurance, some of these cancellation letters that consumers and homeowners are receiving in the mail. Before we do, 7300 Southwind Drive in Hudson, another one of our beautiful properties in Pasco County. A beautiful listing from Livian Coastal Elite and the Platinum MVP team. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1726 square feet. This property is nestled on a double lot. Property boasts an expansive circular driveway, concrete parking pad, providing ample space for your boat, your RV, golf carts, etc. 18 by 30 foot pool, large pool. And what I love about it as well is that the property is situated in the canal community of Sea Pines, offering access to the Gulf of Mexico via the Community Association boat ramp. You got a tiki bar out back, beautiful property, well-maintained home, 7300 Southwind Drive, Hudson, Florida. Another one of our beautiful listings. We've got 50-plus listings here in Tampa Bay. So if you're buying, selling, or investing, we would love to talk to you. 13906 Bardmore Place, a townhome in Carrollwood. Attached property, beautiful home, 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 2-car garage, almost 2,100 square feet of living space. 3-bedroom townhome here at Bardmore Place, Unit B in Tampa. Hurricane impact windows, brand new kitchen, stainless steel appliances, large pantry, and you also have a 5-person jacuzzi. The backyard features banana and avocado trees, and you have a golf course view. Beautiful property, Bardmore Place in Tampa. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, so a lot of good stuff happens between the breaks. So why don't we kind of recap a little bit what we were discussing during the break there, Jason? Because there's some good stuff there too. I mean, you went into some of the losses that these companies had, kind of forcing the legislature's hand, I believe, right?
Yeah. Just and I don't know the exact years, but I know in the last I think it was 3 years ago. Just don't quote me on that. I think that was the year that Progressive, that Universal actually lost $250 million in the state, and then Progressive the year after that lost $250 million in the state.
Wow.
So the fact that we lost Universal in that sense, they stopped writing in a lot of areas, a lot of zip codes. They got stricter on their underwriting guidelines. They were one of the main reasons that we did not have to write with Citizens that much, because Citizens was not ever supposed to have the number of policies they have now. The last stat I read was around 1.4 million policies in the state.
Are they the kind of the catch-all?
That's all they were ever supposed to be. They're the company of last resort.
Got it.
They're owned by the state of Florida. The state of Florida formed them.
Yep.
And so I went several years without having to write a single policy with Citizens because we had companies like Universal. But then when they started losing money, they got stricter on their guidelines, and of course Citizens became more of an issue, and now Citizens is taking they're taking all these steps now to limit and get rid of policies, which what you mentioned earlier, the fact that we're getting all these clients are getting letters from Citizens right now, and that's really important, which we can talk about as well.
So you get this cancellation letter in the mail. What do? You have a limited time frame to shop. Well, you call Jason Mears, Florida Best Quote Insurance, but what are you seeing? What are you hearing from folks?
Well, I think the main thing is people, and I've seen a lot of the news stories that have come out in the last couple of years where people are, they usually interview someone who the sky is falling, my insurance is going to be canceled.
Right.
Well, there's more than one insurance company out there, Like I said, we write with 40-something companies, so there are other options. I think the big thing that clients need to be aware of, because so much of this area does have Citizens, because you're almost in a situation now, if you have a home in the early 80s or older, 70s for sure, by far the best rate has been with Citizens. They're anywhere from 30% less or more on average. But Citizens has been approved to get rid of hundreds of thousands of their clients. And so the way they're doing that is through depopulation. That's those letters that are going out.
Got it.
The real important thing for clients to know is if you have Citizens, you have to open up every single piece of mail, because these depopulation letters, what they're basically doing is they're giving you another option that you're going to be moved to unless you respond to their letter. So it's kind of the opposite. You're not choosing to go to another company.
Right.
You have to choose to stay.
Yeah.
And it could be with a company like Slide or another company that's could be double what you're paying with Citizens.
Right.
But you have to respond to those letters, and that's the main thing I would tell clients is just don't throw away any mail from them. Respond to it. Tell them you want to stay with Citizens if that's an option. Now, on the other hand, if the option they have found for you is within 20% of that Citizens renewal, you're not allowed to keep that Citizens policy. They're basically non-renewing you.
Got it.
They have a 20% rule. If there's another option within 20% of their rate, you can't. We're not allowed to write a policy with Citizens in the first place. But Citizens is not going to let you stay with them. Wow. They're non-renewing you.
Wow. Yeah, that's great information, Jason. Talk to me about flood insurance, because there's some new stuff going on in flood, too. I've heard that it's, even on the interior of the state, they're going to be spreading out the risk. So if I'm high and dry over in, Davenport or Lake Wells and, those areas in the center of the state, they're still going to have to carry flood. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on the company, right? I mean, we did have a huge update to, they call it, I guess, Risk 2.0, Flood Risk 2.0, that came out at the end of, I think, 2021. That changed a lot statewide, because it used to be that your elevation was a huge factor. Elevation certificates were required on homes like from the 70s and newer. And so when they changed the way that they basically rate flood homes based on where they're located, things like that, elevation certificates were no longer required as of the end of 2021, and it's more about how close are you to the water, and how much is your home worth. Wow. So, because in the past, if you were in a moderate risk flood zone, like an AE flood zone, but you're really close to the Gulf, but you're in an AE flood zone, your rate was going to be very similar to someone that's 15 miles inland. They're in an AE flood zone too, but maybe there's a lake around the corner from them, or a catch pond, So the state determined, or the NFIP determined, well, that's not really fair. We're rating those two homes the same. They shouldn't be. This home is worth 3 times as much. They're in the same flood zone, and that's why they're the same. So now, as a result of that, homes on the water, those rates have increased a lot. And then homes that are inland, those rates have stayed more comparable to what they were, or have gone down. So those two things, if this house is worth $1 million in an AE zone, that rate's going to be higher than a $500,000 home in an AE zone if they're both close to the water. So those two factors have really gone up. But the other part of this is that Citizens, and this is what clients are really getting upset about. Like you were talking about, Citizens is requiring flood insurance on homes that in the past they wouldn't have been required to have.
Got it.
And that's a process that we're in the middle of right now. If you were a cash buyer and hey, I bought this, $1.5 million home, and I'm right on the water. I don't have a mortgage, so I don't have to get flood insurance with my Citizens policy.
Got it.
Now you have to. So all Citizens policies from July 1st of this year to July of next year, all those clients that are in that moderate to higher risk zone where a mortgage company would have required it, you now have to get flood insurance if you're going to keep that rate.
Wow.
And then if your home is in that low risk, where in the past you've never had to get it, they're rolling out a process where over the next 4 years, all their clients in that low-risk flood zone now have to have flood insurance.
Wow. Yeah, that's good information.
It's just Citizens, though. That's just Citizens.
Talking with Jason Mears here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Florida Best Quote Insurance. Right here, we talk a lot about supporting the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show and our 50-plus show partners here on the program. So we urge you to reach out to the show. Check out consumerqb.com. You can see links there, phone number as well, consumerqb.com. And we're going to make sure we get you in touch with Jason. And I think back, too, also of Superstorm Sandy and some of these other storms that hit New York hard and devastated the NFIP, the funds in the NFIP, and, then it has to be replenished. So, yeah, it's the risk is associated, right? So you have Louisiana, Texas, other areas getting hit, Carolinas, and then Superstorm Sandy. But that is our time for today, my friend. How do you want people to connect with you, Jason?
Well, they can go to my website at www.floridabestquote.com. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok at Florida Insurance Tips if they want
Awesome.
to catch me on there as well. I'd be
Good
glad
stuff.
to talk with them.
Connect on social. All right, Jason, until next time, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, Dwayne Bischoff, CPA, on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also going to discuss this what some are calling the largest healthcare worker strike in the history of the United States. Coming up, Kaiser is striking. Employees are striking. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast.